Oh, howdy campers, and welcome to the East of Eden Test Kitchens Food Laboratories. And today we are on fried chicken livers a la Guidi. Actually, this is just a small kitchen out in underneath the canopy of the Great Chickasaw Woods. And it is a rainy day in April, March, I don't know. But I was wanting to make fried chicken livers because most of my videos have been gravy based, and they oftentimes put brown gravy to chicken livers, which was my original intention. But as I thought about it, I realized I had other memories that are inextricably linked to chicken livers. So we're kind of wandering down that path, and we will get to the a la Guidi part in a moment. First, let's see if we can fire up this espresso machine. I am not an espresso scientist. So this is the French Market Coffee and Chicory. I don't believe it's espresso, but we're gonna do it like espresso. Get in there. Let's do that. And we'll have a, well, that's nice, that worked. We will have a coffee break first. If I'm doing this correctly, let's see. Pour some water in here. And then this goes back in there like that. Put this lid back on. Seal the pressure seal, and then brew. Let's get this out of the way. This New Orleans genuine French Market coffee with chicory, which is quite expensive these days, by the way. I think they charge a tariff on it when they cross the Mississippi state line. Anyways, this is my self-published book, available on Amazon, After the Mardi Gras by R.S. Pierpoint. Now, this has been around for quite some time, and the first parts of it are a bit biographical, biological, but it's my story. Bits and pieces, most of it's fictionalized, dramatized. But in here, I talk about, shortly after I got out of the Marine Corps, I was just running wild, and a gentleman by the name of Ray Guidi, I met him through my cousin. They knew each other from college up here at UT Martin. And we come down to where Ray had his shop, and he put me to work. It was landscape nursery, moving trees, digging up trees, planting trees, landscaping, flower beds, mulch, sand, all that good stuff. But I ran into Ray years later, up to the Kroger, and we re-Facebooked and started talking. And I gave him a copy of this. But his entire section, it don't say Ray Guidi, it's under a different name in there. But if you read this, you can see the part about landscaping. And I give it to him. He read it. After he read it, he called me up, and he said that he was disappointed that he did not play a larger role in the book. And it was no intentional slight to him. It's just that I wrote it the way that I wrote it at the time, and that was his part in the book. But now, he played a lot larger role in my life, and as did chicken livers. Now, we're going to be using the McKenzie bowl, 25 cents, the McKenzie Citywide Yard Sale. But if you want to come over here, here's the chicken livers. Down in here, wait a minute, back up. Let's see what the espresso is doing. Okay. Chicken livers come in a container about like this. As soon as I get them, I freeze them. And then we get over in here. I've got them in a colander. Can you on top of them this way? And you go through and you look them over. You find some that you consider to be edible. Put them in there. Get in there. get in there. And we're going to get enough for just one order here and get them fried up because we don't want to repeat of the, what was that, chicken with Archduke sauce, which turned into the great magnum opus of a video. We're going to try to wrap this one up a little sooner than that. I would say, it's not that one there. Well, I'm a bit disappointed that I didn't get to cut anything. Here, we'll cut this one just for good measure. Well, we got one cut. There we go. All right, let's get them up out of there. Put them over here. Give my little hands a rinse, or my big hands, my big ham-handed hands. Get them chicken livers off of them. But I was a young man running wild and ready to give me a job. And I must say, they were very generous with me and just took me in like family. I don't know what the attraction was. I was just a big muscle-headed dummy at that time, 22, 23 years old, 24 maybe. But we worked very hard through the day in the Tennessee summers, and it was hot. And mostly we worked and we sweated. But then at night, we might crack open a beer or two. Now, I haven't drank in years and years. I'm going to take a sip of this one here after a while. But those evenings, those hot, what Glenn Campbell say, southern nights, let me get in here and get some buttermilk. I've got to get in here. Let's get in the cold storage. Let's hit these with a little buttermilk. I'm kind of cramped up because I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do the book, espresso, and chicken livers. Let's get the Creole. Let's hit it with some Creole. There we go. Oh my goodness! Now we get somewhere now. You seeing that? Okay. I think this has completed. Let's see what we got here. Well, I believe that's actually going to work. We don't want too much because we got the jabberjaws now. We certainly don't want to be any more stimulated. Let's see, is this bad boy off? Okay. Let's see. Let's get a paper towel like this. And I'm not doing the story justice because it's all in retrospect from days gone by. And it's difficult for me to recreate what actually transpired. But we worked hard there around the city that was starting to grow. Let me get in here. We already had the deep fry set up because last holidays we bought some extra turkeys and frozen, and we figured it was close enough that we could eat one of those. So we've been slicing that turkey off and breading it and frying it. So that's ready to go right there. Let's get our coffee back out of the way. Now, if you take a notion you want to look for this in the gastronomique right here, don't look. It's not in there. Now, I just really don't know how to approach this, because it was a unique juncture in my life. And it played a large role in those years for me, that working in the landscaping business. And of course, we would work hard through the day, then prowl around at night, party a little bit, maybe the pool hall or two. Maybe chase a woman around, I don't know. Things like that have been known to happen. But it was a very dynamic part of my life and quite the growing experience. And Ray was the one who oversaw. He was the chief of that little umbrella of it. And I certainly wasn't the only player in this. There was others, incidental characters in this story. And I believe I had met Ray's parents and had been to their home in Memphis. And it was a large, better off, what's the word for it, home. And his dad was an executive of some type. From what I remember, a more stern type person. And his mother was just sweet as sugar. And they were ethnic people. I mean, compared to my ethnicity, they were a different ethnicity. If you consider Italian to be an ethnicity, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about with that. But they had that I don't know what you call it, that ethnicity. There was so much that happened. I can start with the cave adventure. Ray and his family, they were adventurous types. And they talked me into going spelunking, something I had absolutely no knowledge of whatsoever. And up there in Crossville, Tennessee, and we entered that cave, I don't know, early one morning. It started crawling and walking across crevices and then dropping down in holes. And we were hours getting down to the bottom of that thing, and it was an underground river down there. And I was absolutely certain that's where I would spend the rest of my life, was down in the bottom of that cave. Or as they say, the rest of my short-ass life in the bottom of that cave. But somehow we managed to come back up out of there. Is there a problem? Okay, my camera person over here is indicating some kind of trouble. I don't know what it is. Maybe she's tired of hearing me talk, because this conversation doesn't seem to be going anywhere. I'm trying to memorialize this this part of my life and Mr. Ray Guidi's. Now, if you knew Ray, every bit of this would make perfect sense. And since you don't know him, you're having to rely on my recollections of the matter. And we're supposed to be making chicken livers here. We don't want to get it over there in our coffee. Let me get that up there and get our coffee out of the way. And I'm just rambling on trying to illustrate. But when you're working hard like that, you need nutrition. And every day, and for some reason, it was this fried chicken livers was like the breakfast of champions. Every Quick Mart had these for sale. You go in there and get some beer and you get some chicken livers. And for a year solid, that's all I ate, was fried chicken livers. And occasionally you throw in a chicken thigh or some potato wedges. Back up, let me get in here and get the high quality dry ingredients to this. You always do it like this, because that way you can drop it or spill much more than you need. It's much easier to have a big problem doing it like that, so always do it like that. Now, I usually use buttermilk cornmeal mix, buttermilk cornbread mix, but that's all gone. We got some cornmeal. Let's throw that in there. Now, Ray's shop, he had a shop out there on the highway on the other side of Eden Street, on the right side of the tracks, not out here on this side of Eden Street. And his shop said here, And there was a road going to a property in the back and a home set here. So I had left. I had worked there a year or two, and I went away for a while, went and did something else somewhere else. And, in fact, I had hitchhiked to California during this some part of this episode and come back and stayed there. I stayed inside Ray's shop there for a while. And but anyway, there was a road that went down through there. His shop sat here and all the little trees and plants. And there was this house that sat here with, I can't call the woman's name. I think it was Inez or Ira and her husband Roscoe or whatever it was. So in the interim, while I was gone, Ray had bought that house. And I came back after having not seen him 8, 9, 10 months, 2 years, however long it was. But while we was working, while I was staying there, that old woman, Inez or Ira or whatever it was, she would always peep out the front window. Always peep out, see what we were doing. She didn't like us, didn't trust us. She was always watching, peep out that window. So I had been gone all that time. And I came back, and I went to pull in, and I seen Inez peeping out that window. And I was feeling real magnanimous, and I went, "Hey, how you doing?" And she slammed them curtains shut. So I went on in the shop and found Ray. I was talking to him, and I told him, I said, "Well, I see old Inez is still out there peeping out the window." He says, "I doubt it. She died about 2 years ago." And I went over in that house. That house didn't even have any floors in it. That window she was peeping out of was 15 foot up in the air. So I guess when people like a home, they want to stay there. And then one time they liked to go to the river. I went over, they had what they called an all swim. And I can't swim a lick. But we was out there in the deep part of that Tennessee River, and I climbed down. I was hanging off the ladder of that boat, and I could feel that river current sweeping under my feet, and I didn't let go. I said, "This ain't happening for me. I am strictly a land animal." They were just out there, just splashing around, having a big old time. I said, "I don't believe I'm up for this." And I climbed back up in the boat where I don't know how safe that was, but it was as safe as, or more safe than being in that river. Woo. All right. Put them over in there. Start getting this. So that is how we've come up with chicken livers a la Guidi. I don't know if this is going to enter into any cookbook anytime soon. Let's see. And I'm not mistaken, I believe Ray was born on Valentine's Day. I think that's when his birthday was, which is a bit off the beaten path, would you say? And there's certainly, everybody's birthday's got to be sometime. And he is a charismatic type of person. And as I said, if you know him, this would make more sense. Now, when you're doing this right here, you got to watch, because these things will explode. I am burnt up one side and down the other from things popping out of this skillet on me. All right, you focus on these while I go in here and get the shot glass. Here we go. Cozumel, Mexico. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything I'm talking about. But that's going to be integrated into the what do you call that, the refreshment portion. Here, I've got to put these back in the vault here. And we need and I have done not a very good job of elucidating what I wanted to say about this. But for chicken livers a la Guidi, it involves a lot of hard work, working hard when you need to work, and partying hard when you need to party. And, of course, perhaps an adult beverage. Now, I haven't drank in years, except maybe the occasional sip or two, so I'm not advocating strong alcohol, strong drink. Now, in the book, there's a story, and I attribute this to having happened to Ray. But it didn't happen to him. It happened to somebody else. But I wanted to kind of expand the storyline there and get something else in. But in those days, I smoked Marlboro Lights. And the crew I was with was tasked with maintaining some cemeteries. And when you bury somebody in a graveyard, they push the dirt back in, and oftentimes the dirt will collapse back in, and there will be holes down the side of the grave where the earth has fallen in. So I was coming down through there up on this ridge in the cemetery, and it's in the book. It's in here. And I was smoking that Marlboro Light, and I walked by and I throwed it in one of them holes beside that grave. So I went on down the way there with a lawnmower, whatever I was doing. And so after just a little while, I heard just this horrible screaming and carrying on. And another boy had come down through there and seen that smoke coming out of that grave. And he was certain that we had tapped into a portal to hell there. And I come back up, I had to, hey, man. I said, I threw a cigarette butt down in there. Which I understand that was sacrilegious and disrespectful, and I've learned better, but I was young. Yes, and we got another problem. Well, as soon as these brown up a little bit, we'll be done with this portion of today's entertainment. I don't have it quite as hot as it, and we used it to fry that turkey, so I think that has slowed down its browning capabilities there a bit. But they're coming around. We'll have it here shortly. I believe I've covered just about all there is to cover with this. I don't really know a way to expand. What is it now? My camera person has taken to being a director today for some reason. While I'm trying to remember what I'm trying to say, she's been making faces at me for unknown reasons. I don't know, maybe she's not liking my performance today. And I will confess and admit it's not my best work, because I'm not representing what I wanted to say with this. And I don't know that there is any way to. Did the memory light come on? What are we looking at here? What? Yeah, that's supposed to be there. That's part of the filming mechanism. Okay. We'll cut that out in post-production when we edit this. So I'm wanting to get these brown and get them out of here so we can move on. And we're very fortunate that they haven't popped. And I don't want to go into, you know, nobody's asked me to make this video or immortalize them as a recipe. Somebody's had a recipe named after them. And I really can't put into words, as I keep saying, I don't know how to explain it any further. You work hard, play hard, eat chicken livers, drink beer, and you might, I don't know, derive something from your youthful existence. I just don't think these are brown enough yet. They're just about there. And praise be, none of them exploded, so yeah, we're getting there. We're just about there. We're getting ready to call this quits. Get them out and get a... Yeah, we're just about there. So it's a very simple process. You clean your livers, you add a little buttermilk in them, some flour and some meal, salt them. I use Creole powder. And of course we've got our, everybody's seen this. We're working on our cappuccino there. What is that? Espresso? Let's pull these out. Is them done enough? They're going to have to be done enough. All right, let's turn that. Let's get this over here. Put this back over here. Get that out of the way. Here, let me move this, the fry station over. Okay, put this back over here. All right. All right, here's a big old Budweiser. Always do this. Bend that thing and take it off. Let's see if we can get a shot poured in there. All right. There we go. Chicken livers a la Ray Guidi. And before we say goodbye, I salute you, Mr. Guidi, and here is to being young.